So, hello and very good evening, everyone. We will start with today's internship meeting. So, I hope all of you have raised your hand for the presentation. So, first we'll have presentation session, and if there is any time remaining, we will go for the general discussions. And if you have any urgent thing to, then you can put it in the chat for the general discussions. Okay. Bhagyashri, ahirwar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please start with the presentation.
Sir, please enable screen sharing.
Try again.
Sir, actually, this is my task one presentation. It was wrongly scheduled for task two, so I'll be giving it for task one today.
You are scheduled for learn about scientific analysis group
Yes,
twice.
sir. It was wrongly scheduled. My task one presentation was not complete, and it was scheduled for task two.
Are you from which group?
Sir, Python developers group. Sir, I asked on technical chat, and they told me to give it for task one today.
Sure.
Okay. Good evening, sir. I am Bhagyashri Ahirwar from Python Developers Group, and my task for today's presentation is Hackveda Business Operations Scripts in Python. The task includes three main topics. First is learning about Google crawler tool. Second is creating website login automation using Selenium, and third is email service using SMTP. So let us see the contents of this presentation. First, we are going to learn what is a Google crawler, then how to implement automation using Selenium, then what is SMTP and its uses, followed by some conclusions and references. So let us first see what a Google crawler is. It is a generic term used for any program that is used to automatically discover and scan websites by following links from one web page to another. This program is used by search engines to scan the web, understand the context, and create the list of all the websites. Since we know there is a lot of data present on the internet, and when some new data is being added or updated onto the search engine, the Google crawler crawls through the entire data and saves it onto the local host. And when a user demands a query or searches for something like example Python interview question, a related output is showed in a form of table. Let us see how a Google crawler does this. There is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. First, we import a set of libraries such as request, pandas, JSON, and datetime. The request module is used to send requests to a web page and to get a relevant response from the particular web page. Then, pandas is used for data manipulation and JSON for temporary file storage. JSON favors client server data exchange in the form of HTTPS request. And datetime supports classes for data and time manipulation. For this, we first declare a question list which is used to store the output of our search. Then we declare a keyword to take input from a user. We can use different and multiple websites to access information when we search. Here I have used only Quora to access information. When we search something on Google, the request module uses its method, get method, and gets response. This response is then saved into a JSON file, and we can find the search time of the JSON response and print it, and also we can find the total number of results and store it into an integer value. In the exceptional handling block, uh, in the try in the try block, we loop through the responses and append the list, and then in the except block, we pass it. And a list of questions is being printed at last, and we can use data frame from pandas library to get a table of our questions. For example, when I search here Python interview question, I get the output as here I get the Google URL, the total search time of the search, the total results, and a list of all the questions. And also, this is in a tabular form, the questions are represented here. Next, we have login automation using Selenium. Selenium is an open source automation testing tool that supports a number of languages such as Python, Ruby, and JavaScript. The language used depends on the application to be tested. It can be used to test the functionality of web applications on various browsers and operating systems. So in the Selenium test, we specify the actions we want to take, and Selenium automatically executes these tasks onto the browser. For example, we can create a login or an automated login page for Quora where the email, password, and the login button will be clicked on its own. So let us see how we can do this. We first install we first install the WebDriver Manager into our Jupyter notebook. The Manager manages the WebDriver and supports its methods. Then we import WebDriver from Selenium, and also we import time. The WebDriver is a web framework that is used to automate a website. Also, we use the maximize window method to maximize the window or to fully view a web page. Then we use the get method to open a website. By performing these actions, we get an automated page like this. Next, we need to input the email, password, and click on the login button. So in the next step, we first find the elements called username, password, and then the button. And then we pass its keys such as the username has the email ID, the password gets its password, and then we click on the login button. When we run the entire program, a pop-up window is going to be created which will automatically get the email address, password, and click on the login button. Let us wait for it. So here is the pop-up window. It is an automated test software and it is going to fill up details on its own and enter into the website. Here first the email address is going to be typed, next the password, and then it is going to log in on its own. Here we have logged into Quora page. Next, we have email service using SMTP. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. The main purpose of SMTP is to set up communication rules between servers. For example, when we send a message or when we write an email from the client server, we use the SMTP protocol to transfer it to the receiver server. It also supports the following. It can send a single message to one or more receivers. The sending message can include text, voice, video, and images. It can also send the messages on network outside the internet. The code for SMTP is as first we import the SMTP library. It supports the transfer of mail using the SMTP protocol. Then we import MIME multipart, MIME text, MIME base, and encoders. MIME stands for Multipurpose Internet Mail Extensions. The MIME multipart divides the entire message into smaller parts. The MIME text is used to share text through an email. The MIME base is used to attach files to the emails, and encoders encode the entire message. Then we define a mail and write the contents which we want to send. Next, we specify the sender address and the receiver address along with the sender's password. Next, we set up MIME. First, we call the MIME multipart as message, which contains the information such as the message is sent from home to home and the subject of the mail. Next, we attach the email content along with the message. Next, we can also attach a number of other things like images and videos, audios. Here I have attached a PDF file called attach.pdf. We can use the RB permission to open it as a binary mode, in a binary mode. Next, we use MIME base to convert the application into an octet stream so that the binary data is converted into a stream of data which is easier for machine to machine transfer, and we store it into the payload. Next, we use encoders to encode the payload using base 64. Sometimes we notice that some attachment into an email is lost. So, in order to prevent this, we add header to the payload and attach it along with the mail. Now, for creating SMTP session, we use port 587 for gmail.com. To add a security feature, we add a method called start TLS. TLS stands for transfer layer security. And to authenticate the correct user, we use the login method and using the sender address and the sender password. Next, the text is sent as a string and message is sent using the sender address, receiver address, and the text is sent, and the process completes. Here are some uses of email SMTP. SMTP prevents spam by verifying the sender's account before delivering a message. That is, the login authentication is done. First, the users or the sender's address is checked, and also the password is checked, and only then the message is being sent. It provides options for tracking emails, and it is a reliable and quick email delivery, and hence many popular uh, outputs like Microsoft Outlook, Yahoo use these. You can also use this to create a dedicated server if it is needed. So the conclusion of the presentation is we learned how to make a Google crawler tool and how it works, how we can create a Selenium test to log in into a website, and how we can transfer mail through SMTP. Here are some of the references that I have used for this presentation, and that's all from my side. Thank you. Sir, sir, I'm done.
Okay. Can you tell me what is payload?
Yes, sir.
What is payload?
Sir, a moment, please.
In SMTP, you have payload, right?
Yes, sir.
It's set to payload and then input. What is payload?
Sir, to attach a file, like we use it when,
Payload, what is payload? Can you be more clear?
sir, I cannot explain it in deep. I just know it is like when we convert a binary file into an file as a text, we use payload to store it.
You don't know what is exactly is payload.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, no issue. So do you know how a crawler works?
Sir, as in,
The crawler in general, how does a crawler works?
so sir, when there is a information onto the search engine, the crawler look like when some information is added or when a crawler goes through the information, it stores all the data, like what is the amount of information that we are sharing into the search engine and what type of data it is, and then it stores it into the local server like the hard disk of into the server, and then it is indexed, and when a user wants some information, the relevant data is being sent by the crawler.
I ask how does a crawler works? Like I mean to say, so say let's take an example. Okay, so you go to hackveda.in and then there is list of interns. Okay, and then there is like what batch they are from. Okay, so the name is there and the batch is there. So say my name is Yashchandra and then batch is 2022. Okay,
Mhm.
so I wanted to extract all the list of name of interns from that list and the batch, the year, because there is two things, right? The month and the year. Okay, in the batch section. I just want you to extract the first part of the name and the year of the batch. How does a crawler works to get that information? You have written code on it. So how does it? How is it?
So we import the entire code of the website, like what is the information which is already saved into it, and then we can find the specific information.
Yeah. So how you will find that specific information? The first name and the year of batch. That's it. That's the only thing I would like to know. And you can store it just how you have stored it in the list format.
Okay. Sir, I'm not sure how to do this.
Not an issue, not an issue. See, the thing is with your presentation, your
Yes.
code was well explained. The demonstration was really well done. Okay. And what all I got from your presentation was definition of SMTP, definition of crawler, and the definition of what was the other thing, the second thing.
Login.
That's it. Yeah. That I only got the definition because you have only included definition. There is no proper explanation. Okay. When in the like when I say explanation, so you need to explain how does a crawler works and how does your code is actually working on it. You have crawler, you have cora.com, right? And you have keyword, then keyword plus site, and then print, and then Google API, then you have response. Okay, see, in the sites you have the list of site and then the keyword like what you are searching for. Okay, and then in the Google URL you have the API, and scroll down.
Yes, sir.
Now scroll down, you are getting the JSON response search time. Okay,
Yes, sir.
items, title replace. Okay, come down, scroll down more, scroll down. So you need to explain how does this work. Okay,
Okay,
all
sir.
this part, because these are like the highlights of your code.
Okay, sir.
Make sure you explain them, and if you know how your crawler works and how these things come, then you will be able to explain it. Okay, so
Okay.
whenever your task is given, don't just be like that you got a script and you ran it and then you explain it. See how it is working under the hood, because if you don't know how does a crawler works, then how you are supposed to crawl something. Okay, when we have a crawl, then like we have a specific question like Python interview questions, right? And then it is giving us top 10 questions, something like what is a good Python interview question, how to do something like this. Okay, the questions asked based on this keyword, right? So how is it working? Because if I give you like a specific keyword that I want to search for something specific, how you can use it? Okay, like how I can use it for my advantage, because this is something open source, everyone can go and crawl. Okay,
Okay.
with the API, like with the fair use, they can do it, right? So how I can use this, and then in the SMTP, you need to explain how does SMTP actually works under the hood, and how your code is implementing that.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah. So it was lacking somewhere with respect to the explanation. It was like, see, it is good with if you are saying like the for the beginners, but when you are talking about you want a paid internship, or you want like you want to get a job, this is not something we you do in a professional presentations. Okay, you need to go more technical presentations. Okay, have more in-depth knowledge and do it with respect to that.
Okay, sir.
But with for the demonstration, it was really well done. This is one of the best demonstration I have seen for the project. So your demonstration skills are there, just expression skills and the presentation skills get to be there.
Okay, sir. I'll improve it in next presentation.
Yeah. Other than that, everything was fine. There was conclusion, references, and introduction and everything. Okay, that is all right.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
thank you. Yeah, so we'll move on to next question. That is Jyoti.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Good evening.
Yeah, very good.
Sir, my screen is visible.
Yeah, but I can see some dark banners
Yes, sir.
on. Okay, it is fixed now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Jyoti, and I'm from Machine Learning Intern batch. And my task is future location prediction system. So, today I'm going to present this project. So, let's start. What is future location prediction system? So, what is future location prediction system? So, in this system, we are going to predict the future location of a car on the basis of some given parameters, or we can say we will predict the future coordinates where will our car will be stopped. So we will use a given data set, and we will use some parameters. So Hackveda has already provided us a data set, and we can download this data set from the given link. So after analyzing the data set, I got some feature values, or we can say input values. First one is event time start, event time end, longitude start, and longitude end. Longitude start, latitude start, sorry. So these four are the feature values, or we will give these input values to our machine, and our machine will give us some output. So there are two target values, one is longitude n and one is latitude n. So I will use three algorithms in this task. One is linear regression, second one is lasso regression, and third is lasso CV regression. So there are some steps I followed in this task. First, I have imported the necessary modules which are needed to complete this task, and then I have loaded dataset in my source code, and then I have splitted my data in 80 to 20 ratio, and I have trained 80% data, and I have used 20% data to test my model. And after applying the models, I have to I have to check the accuracy, and the model which gives us the more accuracy, and that model will be the best model for the given data set. And after the accuracy, I have plotted the graph, and after that I will select the best model. So here is the flow chart of my task. So first I have started, then input the data set, and I have splitted the data set, the data in two forms. For training, for one is for training and second one is for testing. And I have used these three models. I have trained these models on by training data, and I have tested these models, and I got some score. And which the model which gives us the best score, I have selected this as a final result. So after applying the linear regression model, I got this I plotted this graph, and the data was not diverse. That's why I am getting more accuracy, which is 0.9998 something. So the data was not large. That's why I'm getting more accuracy. And in machine learning, there are less chances we got these type of accuracies. So I can plot only two parameters in graph. So I have plotted ending longitude and starting longitude. After that, I have used lasso CV regression, and this is a graph of lasso CV regression. Here we are getting the same line, because I have already said that data was not large. That's why there are no variation in the graph, and its accuracy is 0.997272. So the conclusion of my task, linear regression is the best model as compared to the lasso CV. So I have selected the linear regression for the as a best model for the particular data set, and this is my presentation. Now I'm going to explain its code. Here is my code. So I have imported the necessary models like modules like matplotlib, numpy, skykit, pandas. These are the modules I have imported in my code. After that, I have loaded data set, which is already given a local dataset.csv file. So I have printed my data. So there are the some parameters. First one is ID of the car. Second is event time. Then event time and latitude start, longitude start, latitude and longitude end. Then I have converted the time into the float value. The time is given in the string form, and machine learning models can understand only the integer values, or we can say float values. So we have to convert the string value to the float value first. So I have done this here. After that, I have printed the target values and feature values separately. Target value I have already said. Target is a label. We can say it is the output which we want from our model, and feature values are the input values. I have give these inputs to my machine and got some output. It may be longitude or latitude. So now I have splitted my data for training and testing. I have splitted this data and here is the X-train, X-test. I have splitted the data on in X coordinate or Y coordinate. So X coordinate has the data which is on X coordinate. These are the event time start, event time end, latitude start, and longitude start. And the on y-axis there are the longitude end and latitude end. So now we have to apply the models. First I have applied the linear regression. There I have applied the linear regression model, and I got the score of this model, and the score of this model is this, which is 0.9999988 something. And I have plotted this graph using the matplotlib. On x-axis I have ending like longitude, and on y-axis I have starting longitude. So after that I have applied lasso regression on this data set, and I got this score. Actually I'm facing this problem in this code, that's why I have not present it in my present PPT, because I don't know why this score is coming in the negative value. So I have no idea, sorry for this. Third model is lasso CV regression. So I have applied this model, and I got this output, or we can say label, score. And this is the graph of the lasso CV regression. Hello, sir. Hello.
Are you done with it?
Yes, sir. I have done.
Okay. 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 You are done, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have done.
Just a second. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So, Jyoti, the presentation was good, but there was not proper explanation. Okay. And when I say explanation, so you said we are using linear and lasso seed, right? Why are we using linear lasso and lasso seed? Why not some other this model? Do you know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Yeah, tell me why
Sir,
we have this.
sir, actually in the given task, there was given that I have to use linear regression. Means I
Do you
have to
know
use
why?
regression models.
Do you know why?
Mm, sir, I have no idea
Do you know
about
what is
it.
a regression? What is a
Sir,
regression?
sir, these are the algorithms. I don't know the working of these algorithms
Are you
internal
from which
working.
group?
Sir, I'm from machine learning group.
So let me tell you one thing. So, do you know how? Do you know what a recommendation system? Recommendation
Sir,
system.
repeat again.
Recommendation system.
Recommendation.
Yeah. In
Sir,
YouTube, we have
I have not.
recommendation, right? You have must have heard in YouTube
Oh,
and in Twitter
yes,
that
yes, sir.
people are
Yes, sir.
creating biased
Yes,
recommendation and they are getting wrong. You
yes,
must have heard in the news, right? So, as a machine learning,
yes,
when you will working as a machine learning, scientist or engineer, you will not be given
yes,
a
sir. Yes, sir.
model and said that hey, work this model. In your code, entire model was applied, it was fitted, you got the accuracy in 3 line of code. In 3 line of code.
Yes,
If I create a
yes, sir.
GUI, I can just drag and drop a CSV file, I can apply it. Where is your job?
Yes, sir.
Do I need a machine learning engineer if I have something like this?
Sir,
Tell me, do I need a machine
sir,
learning engineer?
sir, can I explain in Hindi?
Yeah, absolutely.
ओके सर. सर, जैसे कि हम यूजर हैं, तो हमें यूजर को क्या चाहिए होता है, इजीनेस ही ज्यादा उसको चाहिए होती है हर काम को करने के लिए. तो लाइक मैं एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ, जैसे कि मैं यूट्यूब पे मान लो मैं डेली कुछ सर्च करती हूँ. मान लो मेरे को एक ट्यूटोरियल देखना है, मैं डेली कुछ सर्च कर रही हूँ यूट्यूब पे, और मेरे को वो डेली चीज वो सर्च करनी पड़ रही है. अगर यहाँ पे मशीन लर्निंग नहीं होती, मशीन लर्निंग इंजीनियर्स नहीं होते, तो फिर वो मतलब उसको डेली वो चीज सर्च करनी पड़ती थी. लेकिन मशीन लर्निंग क्या कर रही है, उसको इजीनेस प्रोवाइड कर रही है. वो उसको देख रहा है, उसको मतलब उसको एनालाइज कर रहा है कि हाँ ये चीज डेली वो सर्च कर रहा है, तो वो उसको एक रिकमेंडेशन दे देता है कि आप यही देखना चाहते हैं क्या, मतलब उसको ऊपर ही उसकी स्क्रीन पर वो चीज शो होने लगती है. सो
तो
मेरी
मैंने
तरफ
क्या पूछा, आपको समझ में आया क्या? कि जैसे आपने लीनियर रिग्रेशन अप्लाई किया है डेटा सेट के ऊपर, वो डेटा सेट आपको कहाँ से मिला?
सर डेटा सेट हमें मतलब जो टास्क मिला था उसी में
सो
गिवन था,
डेटा सेट
लिंक
हम
गिवन
मैंने
था.
प्रोवाइड किया है, ठीक है?
यस
आपके
सर.
कोड के अंदर सिर्फ 3 लाइन के अंदर वो पूरा अप्लाई हो रहा है, ओके? सो
यस सर.
अगर मैंने एक सपोज GUI प्रोग्राम बना दिया जिसके अंदर मैं ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप कर रहा हूँ CSV फाइल, वो प्रोग्राम वो
हम्म.
फाइल का पाथ ले रहा है, फिट करके मुझे एक्यूरेसी प्रोवाइड कर रहा है. आपका जॉब कहाँ आया वहाँ पे? क्या मुझे एक मशीन लर्निंग इंजीनियर चाहिए उसके लिए? अगर मैंने एक GUI प्रोवाइड कर दिया तो GUI से सिर्फ यूजर का इजीनेस नहीं हो रहा है, आपकी जॉब भी जा रही है. डू यू नो व्हाई यू आर अ मशीन लर्निंग इंजीनियर? See, the thing is, when you are creating a machine learning algorithm, you need to understand how this machine learning works. Machine
यस
learning algorithm काम कैसे करता है? क्योंकि आपका काम ये नहीं है लासो रिग्रेशन या फिर लीनियर रिग्रेशन को अप्लाई करना. आपका काम है लासो रिग्रेशन और लीनियर रिग्रेशन को अंडरस्टैंड करना, ताकि फ्यूचर
यस
में आप उसको यूज करके एक कस्टम एल्गोरिदम बना सके हमारे रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए.
यस
Okay,
सर. यस
so
सर.
understand how does linear regression and lasso regression works on that
ओके.
data set. You explained the steps of your thing, but you didn't explain actual task.
यस सर.
एक्सप्लेन द एक्चुअल टास्क कि लीनियर रिग्रेशन के ऊपर डेटा कैसे काम करना है, और दूसरे डेटा से जैसे लासो रिग्रेशन है तो उसके ऊपर किया तो दूसरी एक्यूरेसी क्यों आई,
यस सर.
दोनों के बीच में
सॉरी सर.
डिफरेंस क्या है? ओके,
यस सर. सॉरी
ये
सर.
आपका एक्चुअल टास्क था. तीनों में आपको डिफरेंस करना था कि इसके ऊपर एक्यूरेसी ज्यादा है तो कंक्लूजन में कौन सा यूज करना है. ओके, सो
यस सर.
अंडरस्टैंड द वर्किंग ऑन इट, वर्क ऑन योर बेसिक्स, डू मोर रिसर्च ऑन इट, then you will work good because your presentation was good, it had a good flow, but it just didn't have that depth that we needed. Okay,
यस सर. यस सर.
work on that, then it will be fine.
ओके सर. सॉरी सर. थैंक यू.
Okay, we'll move on then. Just a second. Okay, sorry for interruption. Then Ankool, Meena.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, very good. Evening.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yes, you can start.
Uh, Good evening, sir. I am Ankool Meena from Web Developers Online Group, and I'll be presenting on control structures in JavaScript. My task. So these are the table of contents. For introduction, I'll be giving introduction to loops, conditional statements, and switch statements in JavaScript. What are their uses and how to use them? And also what are the importance in programming? First of all, what is control structure? In JavaScript, control structures are used to control the flow of the program based on the specified conditions. So for a particular programmer or developer can regulate their code according to their needs. And control structure enables programmers to regulate the execution of their code in response to certain circumstances. And so there are various several control structures such as conditional statements, which includes if else if, and loops, which includes for, while loop, do while loop, and switch statements, which includes switch case. Um, Secondly, so for loops are used to execute a block of code repeatedly until a specific condition is met. So the code we don't have to write the code again and again, and we can apply a loop to for the repetitive tasks. So there are three types of loop. Just as I said, for loop, we have to initialize. We have three conditions. We have to initialize, uh, and we have to give a specified condition for how long will it run, and we have to implement it along our needs. So we can do I plus for 1 plus 2, and for this we have initialized it with 0, and we'll run it while the I reaches 9. So this will run 10 times from 0 to 9, and it will print hello 10 times. For while loop, we just have to specify the condition in while loop, and we can initialize it, the variables from ahead, and we can increment it inside the code. For do while loop, it will run at least one time. So firstly, it will do the conditions if the task we need, and then it will check the condition. If the condition is true, it will go a bug again, and it will run the task. So it executes at least once. And for conditional statements are used to perform different actions based on different conditions. So if the condition is true, it will run the if condition, and if it is false, it will go for the else condition. We can also do if else if. So depending on whether the condition is true or false, separate blocks of code are executed using different statements. For example, we initialized I equals to 4. It's an even number. If I want to, and we give a condition inside a if block, if I want to equals to 1, which is specifying that if it's odd, then this will run and it will print out odd. Else, if this condition is false, it will print out even. So for this case, it will print out even as this is even and this will not run. And we can also do if else. So first we will specify the condition if. We can also add if else for applying the second condition. If it also doesn't run, we can provide the else, which is said as nested if else. For switch statements, the switch statement is used to perform different actions based on different conditions. So we use switch case for that. For example, I have initialized using where exam variable as maths, and applied the switch case here for switch with an exam. So this exam I have initialized it with maths. So it will go inside that, and it will compare all the cases. For example, first is case English. So as our exam is maths, so it will false and it will not go inside this condition. And as it's maths, it will say it's true, and it will go print out today's maths exam. If both the conditions or all the cases doesn't run, we have to provide a default case. If it's some science exam, so it will, for example, there is no exam, so by default I have considered the condition as no exam today. So in conclusion, in JavaScript, the control structure, loops, conditional statements, and switch statements are very crucial for a programmer to learn. So they can write the programs and code there according to their needs and easily manage it. And by utilizing these structures, developers can produce more efficient and readable and maintainable code. These are the references for my task. Thank you. Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much.
Is there any demo?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go on with the demo.
Sir, yes, sir, I am done with my presentation.
Okay. Okay, I would say it was okay because you explained all the points that are needed to explain. Okay. Uh, can you tell me, is JavaScript Turing complete?
What, sir? JavaScript?
I will write it.
I don't know what Turing means, sir.
Can you search it on Google?
Yes.
What does it say? Tell me the highlighted part. Is it Turing complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's go try.
So see, when you are giving a presentation on a topics like control structure, they are the most basic part of the any programming language.
Yes.
So it becomes really boring to listen everything same times. Sometimes you have to make it more interactive, make it more fun. There are many ways to make it fun, and that is when you have proper research on a topic and you have proper understanding of topic, then you will be able to make it fun. Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, any programming language, most of the programming language beats are a really low level program like C or C++ or even Golang or new programming languages that are in the market. They are all Turing complete. Okay. So why they are Turing complete? Start from there. Start your story from there. Like, what is Turing complete? Is JavaScript Turing complete? Why is it Turing complete? Then we will look at one of the reasons why it is Turing complete. That is control structure, and that is the topic of our discussion. It becomes fun that moment when you say it, because they find something a new. That is a new keyword that they have found in their life. That is Turing complete. Most of the people who are here, they don't know what is Turing complete. It is not something that is taught in a college. Okay,
Yes.
this is something that you find while doing a research on your own. Okay, so find something that is fun and orchestrate your presentation and story based on that. And your presentation goals will be, you will get fine colors in your presentations. Okay, that is how you make presentations on boring topics. Okay, whatever was there, it was good. Boring explanation on point. Examples given on point. The way you have created, it was on point, but it was too boring. That is all, everything I can say. So find one thing. Okay, your job is to make it interesting for your viewers, because all of us are here. I don't know how many people are sleeping, and maybe even you slept halfway through while explaining. Okay, your job is to make it somewhere exciting. Okay, so
Yes.
do some more research. Okay, your see, your knowledge is there, but you don't have that flashiness. You need to make it flashy. Okay,
Yes, sir.
like other people have input and output screenshots that look good to people, like everywhere there is a ID, there is a code editor. People think this is cool. Okay, When you go on Facebook, YouTube, there are a lot of people on IDE VS Code with color schemes and all, and they think this is cool while they are writing wrong jQuery code. Most of the video you go see on a YouTube, they are writing wrong jQuery code, and everyone who are coming from non-tech background, they think this is cool. Okay, that is not cool. Things like this make it cool, keywords that are people have not heard even in your industry. Okay, so see, you have knowledge, but get that skill to make it more presentable.
Okay, sir.
With respect to what you explained, it was really good. I would say it was on point. It was like, I cannot say that it was wrong or something. Okay, but make it more interesting next time. Other than that, I would say it was okay. You like had everything, references and conclusions and everything. Okay.
So should I put ID along with my codes and the small codes,
See,
images
when
for
you
that?
put a ID or something, then we can count it towards the demonstration. Okay, then you will get
Yes,
marks
sir.
because there was no demonstration for this one, and this is not a topic where we are asking for a compulsory demonstration. Demonstration is optional. Okay, but it will look good, and it will look good overall towards your presentation. It will give more feel to it. Okay. So next time when you have, try to always include some kind of demonstration, always and always.
Okay, sir.
Other than that, I would say it because demonstration is optional for this one, because you had to just explain the control structure and your understanding, and you did it very well. Okay. Yeah. So we'll move on to next question, that is Kalyani Raut.
So am I audible and visible?
Yeah. What is your topic?
So is my screen visible?
No. Okay.
Good evening, sir. My topic is mobile application industry. I'm from mobile application development group. So, first, what is mobile application development? It is the process of making software for smartphones, digital assistants, tablets, and most commonly for the Android and iOS operating systems. They can be installed on the device or downloaded from any app store or from a web browser. The programming and markup languages used in this kind of software development includes Java, Swift, C hash, and HTML. As mobile app development industry is growing rapidly, from retail, telecommunication, health, government organizations, etc. Uh, so we need to develop the application that their customers and employees and the people and business connect through internet. So there are like uh, four subparts in the application, like a native app, hybrid app, web applications, cross-platform applications. So for the mobile application, we need some functions like app development, testing, deployment, analysis, designing, conceptualize, and deployment. Android platform is a platform for mobile devices that uses modified Linux kernel. It is a platform that was introduced in November 2007. Most of the application runs in Java language. So, Android developer tools. Android developer tools let you create interactive and powerful applications. Uh, the tools can be categorized into two types. First is SDK tools, and second is platform tools. Android is a development tool that lets you perform some tasks like manage Android virtual devices, uh, update Android projects. Uh, we can use SDK with new platform and add-ons documentation. Android Studio IDE. It is the integrated development environment for the Android operating system built on JetBrains, IntelliJ IDEA software, and designed specially for Android development. It is available on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux-based operating system. It can be replaced with the Eclipse Android development tools, which is not used nowadays. The Android Studio was announced on May 16, 2013. Um, now, Kotlin has replaced Java as Google's preferred language for Android development, but Java is still supported. Kotlin is a modern trending language, which is easy to learn, especially if you already know Java. Kotlin used to develop Android apps, server-side apps, etc. Dagger 2 is a fully static compile time dependency framework for Java, Kotlin, and Android. It is the earlier version created by Square, and now it is maintained by Google. MVVM model view model architecture. Uh, in the industry, it is the software architecture pattern that overcomes all drawbacks. It suggests operating. It suggests like it differs from the presentation logic from the business logic. Uh, then model, it is the layer that is responsible for abstraction of data source. View, this layer is to inform the view model about the user's action. View model, it exposes data streams which are relevant to the view. Then this is the diagram of the MVVM model architecture. Data binding. Google releases the data binding library for Android that allows the developers to bind UI components in XML layouts. This helps in minimizing the application logic that binds with view. The two-way data binds objects to the XML layout, so the object and the layout both can send data to each other. The syntax for two-way data binding is @ equal to curly braces variable. You can put the any variable value. Live data, it is considered an observer which represents the observer class to be in an active state if its life cycle is in the started or resumed state. It only notifies active observers about updates. Inactive observers registered watch live data objects are not notified about changes. Then RX Java 2. RX Java is a reactive extension Java implementation that allows event-driven asynchronous applications. It was rewritten from scratch, which brought multiple new features. Some were created as a response that existed in the previous version of the framework. One of such features is io.react reactivex.flowable. So the setup of an development environment. First, we need to install the Android Studio on our systems. Android Studio is Google IDE for Android apps. It gives you advanced code editor and a set of apps templates. It contains tools to develop apps for debugging, testing, and performance that makes it faster and easier. So first we need to install Java Development Kit, then Android Studio. Android Studio is available for Windows, Mac, Linux operating system. Then installing the Java Development Kit, we need to open a terminal window. Then there we need to type -version. The output will give the line. As my system is having Windows operating system, so I have used Windows. Then for installing Android Studio, we need to navigate to the developer's site. Then we need to accept the default configurations for all steps. Then all components are selected for installation. After finishing the install, The setup wizard will download and install some additional components. When the download completes, Android Studio will start and we are ready to create our project. So to create the basic app like a Hello World app, we need to launch the Android Studio. We need to start a new Android Studio project. Then give a name to the application, that is Hello World. You need to choose a different directory for storing the project. Then the unique domain. Then we must have a package name. Since domains are unique, we need to have the uh, app's name with our company's domain name. These are the steps for creating the app. At the end, it will look like this if we run the Hello World app. Then understanding the software development life cycle. SDLC refers to the methodology with clearly defined processes for creating high quality software. Some features are requirement analysis, planning, software design, software development, testing, deployment. Uh, how does the SDLC work? It works by lowering the cost of a software development with improving quality and shortening time. It achieves these apparently by a plan that removes the typical pitfalls of software development projects. Uh, Basically, SDLC model is used to develop a project with a short time of period with good quality. These are the features of SDLC models, like planning. We need to plan how it will work. Then the architectural design, how the app will look like. Then the software development. We need to develop the software for the app. Then test the app. Then deployment, like how we'll deploy it, and the requirement analysis. Then the problems in the SDLC. Uh, First one is identify the current problems, getting input from all stakeholders, including customers, salesperson, industry experts, programmers. Then second is plan, SDLC. The team determines the cost and resources required for implementing the analyzed requirements. Then design, we need to design a plan, the design specification. Then the review of this plan and offer feedback. It's crucial to have a plan for collecting and incorporating stakeholders. Then build. We need actual development starts. It's important that every developer sticks and agreed to the blueprint of the app. For example, like it will give you help in consistent code that is easier to understand. Then next is the code test. We need to detect and like the code is proper or not. We verify the code and it meets the requirements. And software deployment, the software to the production environment, so users can start using the product. Many organizations choose to move the product to different deployment environments. Uh, that's it. So I'm done.
See, you have a lot of information in your presentation. All of them are good information, and it is important information that should be there. But the way you have created your PPT and presented it, it is not good, because in your PPT, when you have a lot of information, the readability is not there. Okay, you have lot of text. uh, don't do that. Okay, wherever you can use a flowchart diagram or convert your text into diagram flowchart, do it. Okay, and never ever have more than one line. Like, whenever you have a point wise thing, make sure it is only one line. It is taking only one line. Try that you are not included any kind of paragraphs in your slide. Never ever include a paragraph. And when you have to include a paragraph, or make sure you are only including one paragraph per slide. Okay. So there are a lot of things I can see that can be converted to diagram of flowchart, and it would have been much better with respect to explanation and with respect to the readability. Okay, so work on your presentation making skills, and also there was lot of information, but there was no proper story to support it. So you had good information on Android, but you could have started with a little bit of context, like why this task. You have a task, and the name of the task that I have is Introduction to Internship Program and the Mobile Application Development Industry. Okay, this task is too big. Okay, and it is, I don't know how to do it. Okay, so with this, what you could have done was you could have started with like why Android, why not stick to web development, and why we need actually Android. Okay, why people are going for that. And when you have topics like Kotlin and Google, and there are competitors like Flutter and React Native, so also touch on topic like why native programming in Android, not Flutter, so that we can go for iOS and also both Android. Okay, so have include this kind of things. They are like general things that can be finished in one slide. Okay, and also have the information, but don't have too much text. Okay, other than that, I would say it was good. It was a very good presentation, and the information that you have, it was also very good. Anyone who would like to go in like Android development field, they will be greatly benefited with this information. Okay. So work on your presentation skills and presentation making skills. Okay, make it more beautiful, make it more readable, then it will be really good. Okay.
Improve for the next time.
Yeah, please. Thank you. And we'll move on to next question. There is Palak Jha.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Kalyani, you can stop the presentation. Yeah. What is the name of your topic?
Create an elastic beanstalk environment.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. So good evening. My name is Palak Jha, and I'm from Cloud Computing Group. The topic for my today's presentation is create an elastic beanstalk environment. So before explaining what do you mean by elastic beanstalk environment, I'm going to tell why elastic beanstalk environment was ever invented. So basically earlier when the developers had to create a software or list of modules related to a particular software that had to be integrated together to form a big software application, then in that case, if developer one created a module that had to be shared with developer two, who is located at different geographical location, then in that case, a medium was required, for example, internet. But this entire process was a difficult process and a time-taking process, and thereby it made the process of software development a lengthier process. So to solve this problem, elastic beanstalk environment was introduced. So it helped the developer to share the application across different devices located at different geographical locations with less amount of time. So basically, elastic beanstalk environment is a service for deploying and scaling web applications and services. So you just have to upload your code into elastic beanstalk environment, and rest everything is taken care by the elastic beanstalk itself, like from capacity provisioning, load balancing to auto scaling, and even health monitoring of the application. And it supports various programming languages such as Java, .NET, Python, PHP, Node.js, etc. So even if you want to use some other programming languages that are not mentioned here, you can make a request to AWS for that particular programming language. And this is the symbol of elastic beanstalk environment. Some of the advantages of elastic beanstalk are, first one is it is highly scalable. It means that if you want to use some resources, we can scale up the resources, and we can also scale down the resources. So the type of flexibility it offers in terms of change of resources is not possible in terms of on-prem service. It is fast and simple to begin. The developer has to only focus on creating the web application, and rest everything is taken care by the Elastic Beanstalk. For example, even the networking aspect of the application is taken care by the Elastic Beanstalk itself. It offers quick deployment since the developer has to focus on only building of application, and even the networking concepts are taken care by the Elastic Beanstalk. Therefore, it offers quick deployment of the application. It supports simple tenant architecture. Using Elastic Beanstalk, we can create virtual environment for separate organizations which are virtually isolated from each other. It offers high flexibility. Since it is highly scalable, therefore it is highly flexible also. It simplifies operation. Once the application is developed and it is deployed using Elastic Beanstalk, then the maintenance of the application is easily taken care by the Elastic Beanstalk itself. Cost efficient, as we know that most of the AWS services are quite cost efficient, and cost optimization is also offered by Elastic Beanstalk, which is not possible in case of on-prem services. Okay, AWS Beanstalk consists of some of the important components that are required in the same order while deploying an application. So these components are application. Application is nothing but the deployment code for the web application. Application version, it resembles a folder-like structure which is used to store components such as environment configuration, then application version, etc. Then environment, here only the current version of the application can be run. Then we have environment tier. So it basically designates the application on which the environment is running. So basically there are two types of environments, web environment and the worker environment. Now I'm going to explain you the working of AWS Elastic Beanstalk environment. First of all, the developer has to create an application. To create an application, he can use any programming languages such as Python, Java, .NET, Docker, etc. Once the application is created, the developer has to upload the version of their application on AWS. Once the application is uploaded, then we have to click on launch environment. And once we launch the environment, Elastic Beanstalk automatically creates an EC2 instance and deploys the application over that EC2 instance. And to view our environment, we just have to click on the URL or the IP address also. After all these steps are completed and after successful launching of our environment, we can monitor our environment, and here several features are also available like load balancing, auto scaling, then monitoring of health of our application. Then we can also update the version of our application, and then we have to follow these 3 steps again, and then we can also deploy new version of our application. Some of the use cases of Elastic Beanstalk are quickly launch web application. As I have already explained, since most of the thing the developer has do not have to care about, therefore it offers quick launch of web application. Then create mobile API backends for your application. Re-platform critical business application. About pricing, there is no additional charges for AWS Elastic Beanstalk. We just have to pay for the services that we are going to use. For example, since Elastic Beanstalk automatically by default creates an EC2 instance, therefore we have to pay for EC2 instance. And suppose if we are storing the application using S3 bucket, then we have to pay the price for S3 bucket. So basically, there is no minimum fees. We just have to pay for the service that we are using. So it is quite cost efficient as well. So these are the submissions that I made. As you can see that I have created an environment. I created a Python environment with the name Python application 1. To create a new environment, we just have to click on new environment, and then we have to do some configuration that I've already explained within the working section of my presentation. Here you can see the health of my application was okay. This is my application. And to summarize, I can say that Elastic Beanstalk is a service that lets automatic deployment of your application. And it is quite easy to use even if the user have no experience or no idea with this platform. In case of any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Hello, Palak, are you done with your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. See, in third semester in my college, I had AWS as a subject, and I written a lot of things from your presentation for 10-mark answer. Okay, that means
Okay.
it was to textbook. Okay, you have already given few presentation before, and there
Yeah,
is no
one.
improvement. Okay, from last presentation and this presentation, there is no. It is same as last one. The present explanation and everything. You covered all the basic things. Okay, but when you are like giving more and more presentation, first presentation that is completely fine. It was your first presentation completely acceptable. Second presentation, this was also acceptable, but this is time that I tell you to improve more for your next presentation. And how can you improve? Okay, when you have AWS as a subject, as I said, in third semester I had this question in my paper and I have written the same thing for 10 marks. Now your presentation is for 110 marks. Do you want me to give you 10 marks? Right? So what I'm expecting, we have elastic beanstalk, right? So why should I use it? You did tell me it automates, right? But how does it automate? When I have manual deployment, I have more control over it, and I have more steps. And you say, okay, so it is deployment, it reduces the steps if we don't need a lot of people for it. Okay, just one or two people can do it. But how does it work? Okay, how does it work under the hood? How does it actually works? Like, so how can you have more control over it? So how can you replace the manual thing with this? Okay, how can you replace your infrastructure with cloud? I want it like that. I want more in-depth explanation on it, not just a definition or textbook information, right?
Okay.
Have more in-depth
Actually,
explanation. Yeah.
Okay, there are many advantages as compared to on-prem.
See, advantages, as I said, this is like more textbook. Okay, I can read the advantages if I just go on Google site advantages of Beanstalk. If you give me 13 advantages, there will be one website that will give me 30. Okay, even 60. They will include everything. There are a lot of websites like this. Okay, go on Geeks and Geeks, they have 10. Go on some other website, they have 13. Go on some other, they have 50. Okay, so that is not. Don't give me textbook example. See, yesterday one of the interns did a presentation on DevOps. Okay, you can watch that presentation and take inspiration how he implemented an actual project with respect to the DevOps, and how understand how it is being done, and how you can create take an example and use Beanstalk to create give me a really good benefit. Like I can understand, yeah, I have benefit with this. Okay. I don't have to rely on my manual building. Or you can give a small comparison that for an actual project, this is how manually it is done, and with Beanstalk, this is how it is done, and how Beanstalk is able to do it. Okay. So say I want to upload a hello world application, how I will deploy it using manual method, and then how I can easily automate that process with Beanstalk, and how Beanstalk is doing it for me. Okay, so this is three like step process. Manual process, Beanstalk, how Beanstalk is working. That's it. And you can do this for all the future presentation. Like whatever AWS is providing, AWS is on providing it the same thing. You have manual method, so AWS created a service to make it automated, and AWS has a way to complete it. and I want to just know that, and that will be enough. And then fourth thing that you can include from your side is to try to convince me to remove my local infrastructure and convert it into cloud. If you are able to do this, then you will go and get job anywhere, because as a cloud developer you want, one method and one excuse, so that your so that you can, like, remove the local thing and put it in cloud. You want to convince it, you want to convince me for that. Okay, so do it with respect to that. This presentation being your second presentation, third presentation, this was good, but when you have more presentation in future, I want it more in depth.
Okay.
And keep in mind for all other, like, for rest of your presentation, whatever it is.
Okay.
So for this one, it was good, but you forgot to, I think, include the reference part. Okay,
Yes.
include the reference part. Other than that, it was good.
Okay,
So
sir.
we'll move on to next question, that is Pramod SL.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. What is your topic name?
Air quality monitors,
Air quality.
monitor components. Okay. Hello, sir. I am Pramod SL. My subject is embedded system and IoT, and I'm going to share the topic like air quality monitor components. Okay. Let's see the types of air quality monitors. There are three types of air quality monitors: outdoor air quality monitors. It is like the name only telling that, yeah, it is that the monitor is located outside and measure pollutants commonly seen outdoors, like particulate like matter and ozone. These devices are weather resistant. They must meet certain environmental test and simulation to be accorded by some building certifications. Another one is indirect air quality monitors. This air quality monitors are included in like this measures the carbon monoxide and humidity and temperature present in the environment. Like interior air quality monitors, like this will measures the built environment and ensure occupant comfort. Okay, let's see the components we are used in that. Arduino board. You know, Arduino is very famous, and this one is most people are using. Like it have a 0 to 13 digital pins are there, and A0 to A5 are the analog pins are located here, and it is like three ground pins are there, and a 5-volt battery to connect other devices to it. Okay. This one is the another component is Raspberry Pi. Okay, Raspberry Pi is it comes with critical features of motherboard in an average computer without peripherals or internal storage. Like it doesn't have internal storage so much. It is like using for running components. The major it will work based on the Python language only. Uh, to set up the Raspberry Pi computer, you will need a SD card inserted into the provided space. The SD card should have the operating system installed, and it is required for the computer to boot. Okay, let's see another component, the carbon monoxide sensor. This is the carbon monoxide sensor we have for measuring the carbon monoxide presence like present of carbon monoxide in the environment. Okay, this carbon monoxide sensor is a UL20334 recognized component or designed for applications in like applications for residential and commercial monitoring and industrial carbon monoxide monitors, ventilation control, and RV and marine control, carbon monoxide monitoring, and fire detection in in some forests, like for detection of carbon monoxide present, like it gives the alarm for the forest officers to come to there and rescue, like for rescue. Okay, indoor air quality monitors and okay. The another component is volatile organic component sensor. Okay, VOC sensor directly measures ambient concentration of a broad range of reducing gases associated with bad air quality monitors. Examples like alcohol, it senses or volatile organic compounds. Okay, like alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, or organic acids. It is a measure like a measure for police officers are they using for in traffic, like alcoholic peoples are like they detect the alcoholic contents in the present in the environment. The next one is carbon dioxide sensor. This one is the carbon dioxide sensor and is an instrument for the measurement of carbon dioxide gas. The most common principle for a CO2 sensor are infrared gas sensors and chemical gas sensors. Chemical and infrared gas sensors are present in these devices for sensing carbon dioxide. Okay, so measuring carbon dioxide is important in monitoring indoor air quality function. Like in indoor quality, it can senses the carbon dioxide presence and how much concentration of the carbon dioxide present in the like it will also detect in the lungs also and many industrial process. Okay, the last conclusion is air quality monitoring system are designed using different sensor for indoor and outdoor air quality monitoring in the previous source by using Arduino, Raspberry Pi, carbon monoxide sensor and VOC sensor and carbon dioxide sensors. Okay, the different types of air quality monitoring systems that are currently available in market, like for study, and various information on the components that are commonly used in these monitors are gathered. Okay, thank you, sir. This is about my presentation.
Okay. Your presentation was good, I would say. Explanation, you include like had everything explained. There was also example, but you need more like practice on your presentation skills. Your examples were good. You will get examples like for policeman checking the alcohol level and everything that can be used. Okay, it was a good example, but you need more practice in the explanation and also use better diagrams next time. Okay, lot of the Arduino and everything. Try to use more high definition diagram. Okay, you were explaining the pins and everything, but it was not quite visible. Use better diagrams next time. Other than that, it was okay.
Thank
Yeah, so we'll move on to Altamash Khan.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, very good.
My screen is visible.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Altamash Khan. I am from Bunsen Institute of Technology. This I am giving presentation on developing a RESTful web service. This is our presentation flow. That first we talk about what is RESTful web service, and then
You forgot to share the screen.
What?
You forgot to share the screen.
How it is visible?
It is loading. Wait. Yeah, it is usually going to start.
So this is our presentation flow. First, we will talk about introduction, and then I'm developing it using Spring Boot. So then why I'm using Spring Boot, then how it works, and then implementation and about its conclusion. So what is RESTful web service? RESTful web service is basically a REST architecture web service, and REST stands for representational state transfer. And REST architecture, everything is considered as a resource. Everything on which we are working is considered a resource. And on these resources are working with HTTP standard methods. We use RESTful services because these are lightweight and highly scalable and maintainable also. REST is first introduced by Roy Fielding in 2000. And if we talk about why I'm using Spring Boot, so Spring Boot is a tool that makes tailoring services with the use of Spring framework. We can make faster and easier to make it. And there are three core capabilities are the reason that why I'm using Spring Boot. First is auto configurations. That when we make any project, the configuration is allowed. So we have to do a lot of configuration. But in Spring, it is done by Spring framework, Spring all automatically. And it also, and second is an opinionated approach to configuration. Spring itself also tell us that which thing we have to introduce into our project. And third is the ability to create standard applications. If we make a project apart from Spring Boot, so we have to download so many things, but Spring do it itself, and whatever it needs, it's downloading it. And second, how it works. So in RESTful service, using HTTP method sends a request to server, and server responds it. And the methods that used are get, post, put, delete, and many more there are, but I'm focusing on these four. We can see that I will use these URLs that this is my 9089 local host. I am using to present local host, and then I my local host number, but these all can change according to you. And these are the methods that I am using: get, post, delete. So first get, if we talk about it, if we pass only courses in URL, then it returns all the courses. And when we get method using course and course ID, then it will tell the specific course. You can see that when we use get method and post method, both the links are same. But where if we send a post method, then it not returns all courses. It add a course in it. And there is put and delete methods. Put method update the course with the ID that given in URL, and delete method delete the course that mm, delete the course where that the ID that is in URL. There is the implementation. This is the uh, main file that start through this. The application run starts. After this, we go to the controller part, and these are the controller that these all are the import files that we have used in the our file. Second, this is the class of my controller, and we have added a core service object, and here it is a get mapping that this annotation is used to tell the Spring that when we type this add slash courses in URL, so we have this function should have to run the, and this function only returns the core service courses and nothing at all. And second, this is another get mapping, in which we have pass courses and course ID also along with it. And this it calls that this get course function from course service class. And then it is post mapping, in which can we pass slash courses, and in this it runs the add course method, which is in course service. We all see in next page. And this is port mapping code in this here we in this all we can see that there are different methods I have used which are implemented in course service. So let's see to the next part. So this is course class. So actually, I have missed something. We are seeing that I am passing here course. What is this course? Actually, this course is the I have made a course class. So this course class that in which we have some ID, a title, and a description of the course. So this is the constructor of the course class in which we pass long ID, string title, and description, so that it will initialize all these. And this is the default constructor of it. And these all are getter and setter methods, and nothing at all. And this is core service that I'm talking about. This is actually the interface of it, and which I had declared that these 5 methods I am making. Again, that the implementation of that methods are in this file core service implementation. In this class, you can see the implementation of that I am implementing core service. That this is list that here you can see that course that I have made. I am using here, and you can see some default. Actually, I have provided some already provided some courses insidely, so that's why it is here. And here that is the get course method I am talking about. That in this method is just return the list and nothing at all. And then again get course in this method. First, this course is I have made a temporary course C, which is null, and after then we search in the list using for each loop, and then search that if the ID match to the course ID, then it will pass that course in the this course, and then break the loop and return C, so that we will get the course. And this is add course method, in which whatever course we provided, it will add in the list and return added. So we have seen that the courses has been added. And this is update course, and in this update course we have 2 things: the course and the long course ID. In this, it search in the whole list, and then whenever he got the mm, course ID in it, then it will update that course and return updated. If he don't found the course, then it return not found. And that is delete course method. And delete course, it will first search in the list. In this, we can say that of the list, we use the get I method and get method, and that of that get ID. So if the course ID will be matched, then then that course has been removed, and we will get the message deleted. If this course is not found, then we will get the not found statement. And now it comes to conclusion. We use whatever the things we have developed. That first thing, that using a Spring would avoid of complex configuration, so that it makes easier and faster. It also develop that's the same line that I have told already, to develop a production ready Spring application easier way, to reduce the development time and run the application in dependencies. Reduce the development time and run the application differently. Offer an easier way of getting started with the application, so that it makes it easier and faster. That's sir. Should I run?
Yeah.
So here is my project that I have told. In this is a main file, and if you open it, and there is one folder src main java, and that there is one interface, and that main applications file, and then another interface in which the controller file in it, and then here is the course file there which I have made list, and there and the interface and implementation of that methods that we are using. Here that one is pom.xml file. So in this pom.xml, in Spring Boot we add some dependencies, or all the dependencies we have added are automatically written in it. So that's why Spring Boot is we are using. Now we should start run. What is running? You can see that here is run as Spring. Actually, I have already run it, that's why it's showing that base of it. Here it is. This that I'm talking about the link. That if we run this, that we will get the whole course that I have made. Yes. At present, there are two courses in this list: 14456 and 145. One is Spring course, one PHP course. And now, if we post, and it means that if we add another course in it, then you can see that run this. You can see that we have got the message added. So this course has also been added in that. You can see that. Here it is, that course that we have added just now. Now we have to delete it. We'll send delete method and have to pass ID of it. You can say that it has been deleted. Now if we have to update the course, actually we are updating 147, and we know that 147 on my list. So it will send that it is not here and not found. Now if we get 145, that it is in a list, so we have to pass on. Now you can see that 145, which is PHP course, now is updated to JS course. So there's a mistake. We have forgot the, again I have done mistake. Now it will finally run. Now you can see it has been updated. You can see here. We get that 145 course, that you can see that it's JS course now, which is PHP course before. So here it is. Now everything is left. Post photo. We had covered all the methods of it. That's all. I am done.
It was a good presentation, I would say. Okay. The explanation was good, but I would suggest that when you have lot of code to explain, try to have flow chart or diagram so that it becomes easy for you to explain and for us to understand. Okay. Because somewhere
Yes.
while explaining the code, you had some difficulties, I could see. When you have flow charts or diagrams, it becomes really easy to explain. Okay. Try to include that. It is some work in the while creating the PPT, but it makes it easy for you to explain during the presentation. Next time do that. Other than that, it was okay. And include the Q&A slide and references.
Okay.
So we'll move on to So we'll move on to next one, that is Mohammed Danish.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Please tell me that. Yeah, please share the screen and start.
Yes. Is screen visible, sir?
Yeah, but you are having some internet issue. Yeah, please start.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mohammed Danish, and I am from Web Developer Group. So today I am going to present control structure in JavaScript. So when, sir, can I stop my video because sir, the band is very low.
No, you can't do that. If you have bad internet connection, you can try again tomorrow. Or
Yes,
next
sir.
week. Okay. You
Okay,
can
sir. Okay, sir.
stop, try next week.
No, sir. I am fine without stopping my video. So when we study something first time, the first question which should come in our mind, why? Why should we study it? How could it will benefit us? So when I study controller structure in JavaScript, same question I was that why should I study this? And when I study this, I got the answer. And in this presentation, I am going to show what are controller structure, why are they important in programming, right? And I'll show some controller structure functions. So first question is that why controller structure? So the basic definition of controller structure as programming construct or function that control the flow of execute in a program. Control structure allow programmers handle different scenario and make decision based on a specific condition. If I talk about in general, when we do programming, so we have to run some code according to some conditions, so that their control structure helps us. Main type of control structure in JS are if else, switch statement, for loop, while loop, and do while loop function, and so on. So here it is statement. What is if else statement? In JavaScript, if else statement is used to execute a block of code based on a certain condition. Here is the syntax of this: if, and in this block, in this bracket, it is condition, and if this condition is right, this parenthesis code will execute, else this will execute. Here is an example. As we know in our India, the age to do vote is 18. So here we can made a code using if else statement. Like if someone age is greater than 18, then he can vote. If is less than 18, then he can't vote. I had made many projects using if else statement. I want to show them. Here is one project. I'm sharing my project screen. So is my code visible?
No, only your PPT is visible. Now it is visible.
Here is my code, and I am using if else statement for validations in form validation. Like if someone is not entering name, not filling name in the form, and someone not filling email or some or other field also, then it will alert please fill in all the field. And here is the validation of email ID using if statement. Here is the validation of password. So like that we can use if else statement in our code, in our programming language. Now coming to this. So basically we can use multiple if else statement, if else if, multiple if else ladder. But if let's suppose we have many conditions, many conditions, then it will be very difficult to write many if else again and again. So for resolving this statement was switch statement was invented. So what is switch statement? Switch statement basically an advanced version of if else statement. In switch statement, we had one condition, one expression, and based on that condition expression, we had many cases. So let's suppose here is a day, and there are many cases, case 1, 2, 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. If our expression match first case, then it will show 2 days Monday, and then break. Break is because after running first case, it will continue till last case if we don't add break. And case second Tuesday, when our expression is matched, it will show that message. So here we can use switch statement if we had many number of cases. Now loops. Loops are used to execute a block of code a specific number of times. Now let's suppose we have to write two multiple times. We can do it manually also, but it would be very difficult. But by using loop, we can we can do it in 2 or 3 lines of code. Like I had example code. I'm sorry. Table of number. Like I have created this generate your table in second by using for loop, and if else statement also used in this. Like if I am entering something here and generate, it will generate the table of that number. So this is the code of this. So here I am using for loop for generating table, but I can do it manually, but it will take time. Let's suppose I had a table of 1000, 1000, 119, then it would be very difficult, but I can do it manually also. Like if I had a very large number, then it would be impossible to do it without for loop. And loops are many types, like for loop, while loop, do while loops, and one is for each loop. Do the interesting fact about do while loop is if our condition is wrong first, if our condition is wrong first time, then it will execute at least once. Here is a function. So basically function in JavaScript are like box of code of box, type of control structure that allow you to group together a set of instruction and execute them multiple times in your code. So why we need function? That by using function we can reuse our code, we can debug our code easily, and like if we can reuse our code, debug our code. Like here is the example, function is even. This is a function which is checking that a function is odd or even, and function is even now I am modulo by 2 and equal to 0. This is, and here I am checking by calling this is even number. If it is even, then it will return 1, else it will return false. So here I am also using if else statement, which I discussed. And here is the conclusion. So by mastering this control into our JavaScript code, we can make dynamic and interactive application that meet the needs of your user. And understanding and using control structure is essential to becoming a proficient JavaScript developer. So basically, if I talk about my experience, more than 75% part of JavaScript are written by using control. I have code. Only if else statement are used in this code. For loop. So learn to enhance our coding skills. And thank you. Any questions?
I hope you are done with your presentation, Danish.
So, yes.
Yeah, so your presentation was good. I would say the flow was good. You explained everything very well, but you could have done more in depth. Technically, you could have done more in depth research on the topics. Then it would have been good. Okay. And next time when you have this code, like lot of code, don't show a lot of code. Show the output and explain, like how what elements are there on the screen and how they are working and how JavaScript is acting upon them. Okay, it will be much more easier for you to explain and much more easier for your viewers to understand.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Other than
Like,
that,
sir,
Yes, like you have seen this table generator. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what you
Yes.
can do is, yeah. So what you can do is say that we have this element RGB. The grid. This is I'm applying H1 tag. I have new color. When I click on new color or when I easy hard whatever it is. So when I click on the element, what is happening? How now JavaScript is helping me? Okay. Explain it
Yes,
like
sir.
that instead of like showing the code.
Yes.
Show the code. You can show the code if you want. Then show it like we explain. We look like during the explanation how it is working. But in the code, this is the code of that. Focus less on code, showing the code, but focus more on expression.
Yes.
Other than that, it was okay. Okay, so we'll move on to next question. I believe only one person is there.
Thank you, sir.
Joy. Yeah, thank you. Joy.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Yeah, please
Actually,
start.
sir,
Yeah.
yes, sir, my presentation was on 5th day, but like I was on the day, there was some presentation for newcomers.
Yeah. You don't need to reshoot. You can do it today.
Okay, sir. So can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sir, is it visible?
Yeah, you can start.
One moment. Sir. Okay, sir. My name is Patel Joy, and I'm fourth year electronics and communication student. My college is GEC Gandhinagar. The name of my task is a function, scope, and closures, and the project name is JavaScript concepts and its fundamentals. So here is the table of content which I will be covering in today's presentation. That is functions in JavaScript, the scope in JavaScript, and the closures in JavaScript. So the first is what is a function? So function is just like a block of code which is used to design to perform a particular task. So here is the way how we can define our function. So for creating a function, so this is the way we can create the name of the function. And the name of the function can contains letter digits or underscore. It is similar like variables. I have created define one function here. The name of a function is a my function. And this P1 and this P2 are known as the parameters of the function. This is the code which is inside the function which will be executed. So here you can see I have created a function which will going to give result as a product of P1 and P2. So whatever the values we will give to this P1 and P2 will be considered as an arguments. So here I have given the values 5 and 4. So we have received the output as a 20, which is 5 multiplied by 4. So here I have shown what is a function kind of. So you can see that the code which is inside this curly bracket will be executed. Function parameters are listed inside the parentheses. Here our parameters are P1 and P2. Function arguments are the values that will be received by the functions when it is called. So here we have given the value 5 and 4. We can change it as per our requirements. Okay. What is the necessity of a function? So yes, without function, we have to write the code multiple times. So if we want to perform a task which is a kind of similar for multiple times in our web page, then we can create a function and give it the parameter. So every time we have to use a function, we can give it the different arguments value, and we can receive the results as per our requirement. So what is a scope in a JavaScript? So scope basically means that the accessibility of variables. So in which areas of the code we can access the value of a variables. So there are 3 types of scope in JavaScript. There is a block scope, a function scope, and a global scope. let's talk about a block scope. So it was so before ES6, JavaScript has only global scope and function scope. So it was available after its new update in 2015. ES6 introduced two important new JavaScript keywords, that is a let and const. Before that, only var was available for declaring any variables. So how does the block scope work? Variables that will be declared inside the curly brackets, their values cannot be accessed outside of this bracket. So let me show you with an example. So let's consider this is a code, and I have declared the variable x, and I have assigned the value 2 to the x. So if outside of this bracket, if I want value of x, I cannot use it because it is a block scope. So it can only be accessed inside this bracket, but cannot be accessed outside of this bracket. But by declaring the variables using var keyword, we can also access them out of this bracket. So here is an example. I have declared variable with keyword x and the value of 2. So I can access the value of x outside the brackets. Then comes the function scope. So function scope is created when a new function is formed. So variables that are defined inside the function are not accessible from outside of the function. That means I have shown with an example here. I have created a function. The name of a function is a my function, and I have declared the variable car name with the value Volvo. So if I want to access the value of this car name outside of this function, I cannot use it. It can only be accessed inside the function scope. So whether we used var, let, or const, we will get the same results. Then comes the global scope. So in global scope, we declare the variable outside of function or outside of brackets in our normal code, and that can be accessed on any area, and these variables can accessed on any part of the web page, whether inside a function or outside of the function. So that's why it is called a global scope. So here is an example. I have declared variable globally using var, let, and const, as they are outside of any function, so they can be accessed anywhere on the web page. Then comes the closures in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, closures can be defined. It is a kind of a feature in JavaScript where we have a function that is nested inside another function. So you can say there is an outer function and there is another function that is nested inside it. So inner function can access the value of a variables of an outside function. So the closures here has a 3 scope names. That is, closure can access to its own scope. It can access to the variables of its outer function. It can also access the global variables. So here is a code, like a little example I have given to explain the closure. So here you can see this is this function fun is an outer function. I have declared one variable with the name msg1, and its value is hello world. So this msg1 is a variable of outer function. Inside this function, I have nested another function with the name inner function. So you can see that inner function is using the value of outer function, even though we are getting the results hello world. That means with the closure, we can get the value of outer function inside the inner function. So this is the same what I have explained. I have created a simple web page. Okay, so this is an example of a function. So I have created a function to turn on and turn off the light bulb. So when I click on the turn on, the light bulbs get turned on, and when I click on this button turn off, it gets turned off. So what I have used here is on this turn on button, I have used on click event listener and added a function to turn on this bulb. And same way on this turn off, I have used event listener with another function. I have shown a scope. So in scope, as you see, three types of scope are there, like global, blocks, and functional. So here you can see this is a curly bracket and this is a function. Here we have declared a variable using where keyword. So we know that where keyword has a global scope, and also as this variable is declared outside of any function, so it will have a global scope. So as I am using it inside the function, even though I will get the results. So when I click on the output, I get the result hello world. But similarly here, we have declared our variable inside the function. So that's why it is not going to have a global scope. And so if I want the value outside of the function, then I will not have the value. So it will give me a reference error. Here I have given the example of a JavaScript closures. Similarly, like this is a outer function and it has this variable, and this is inner function. It is using the value of variable of this outer function, and so I get this value of the outer function. And this is my code which I have used. So this is a function for bulb and bulb off. This is for the scope example, and this is for the closure operation. So here I would like to end my presentation, sir. Thank you.
It was a good presentation, I would say. Whatever you had, you explained it really well. Okay. So for the demonstration, it was good, but it can be more improved. Okay, when you are doing a demonstration, so suppose for a function, what you could have done was say that I have this two element that that is first is button, second is another button which says turn on and off. They give two different inputs, and this function takes the input, and this is how the output. That is a button turn, light bulb turn on and off. Okay, so you have to explain your project with respect to what you have done. Okay, so with respect to function or closure. Okay, you had expression, but it can be more improved. That is what I want to say. Okay, so next time work on it. Other than that, it was okay. Okay, overall it was okay, and try to use more examples, to make it more exciting. Other than that, it was good. Yeah. Okay, so I believe you are the last one for the presentation. So we are done with all the presentation today. So whatever the presentation are left, we'll have it next week. So you guys can leave now. You will get your scores by tomorrow. I believe all of them are left. Okay. So you can also leave, Joy. Okay. Bye. Good night.